All right. Sorry about that little extra delay there. Just found out my cat's trying to eat donuts off the counter. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Microphone check. Screen check. Looks like everything's working out correctly here. Jeez, oh Pete's. That's one way to start the day. Good morning, good morning. Hopefully everyone is all rested up and ready to rock and roll going into Friday. Let's see. Yeah, looks like everything's working correctly here. Right? Mic check? Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Hey, Vicky, how's it going? All right. Anyway, hopefully everyone is able to rest up, get ready for the day ahead and all that fun stuff. Make sure you read through the Live Trader Morning Prep PDF on the right side of the screen there. Very important to go through and understand everything that is inside of there. And just a quick note, of course, before we jump in on the YouTube side of things, there is usually a little bit of a delay between like 5 and 30 seconds, which will impact the timeliness of what I may be talking about at any given moment. All right. I just want to take a second like we do every day to thank all of the new members, subscribers, Academy students, VIPs, everyone in between. Welcome to the SSFTG fam. I'm super excited to have you all on board. If you aren't part of SSFTG yet in one way, shape, or another, there are a ton of different ways to join up. The easiest way is to join as a YouTube member with the join button below the stream. It gets you in the chat room, the YouTube community board, stock and crypto chart posts, and just a bit more behind the scenes and what's going on. Of course, if you want to understand how we do everything, then you can check out the Day Trading Academy along with VIP and everything else that we have to offer waiting for you over at ssftg.com. So if you're here for the first time or the 1,000th, good morning, welcome. I'm glad to have you trading alongside with me this morning, going into these crazy markets that apparently just don't know how to pull back. They just keep going straight up to the moon. Anyway, let's take a look at some news, take a look at some charts, see what's going on into Friday here as we wrap up into the end of the week. First off, don't forget to grab your morning DP levels. Those are posted for you every morning on the major 7 that we take a look at. Nasdaq, SP, Gold, Crude, Euro, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. It's a race every time. We got them all laid out for you, waiting to go. As far as the news calendar is concerned, excuse me, we've got only one announcement. That's going to be at 11 o'clock. That's it. Fed Chair Powell speaking at 11 o'clock, and there's nothing else really going on. 9:45 has the services PMI, market composite PMI, and manufacturing PMI. Those can move the market around definitely, but really, there's just not a whole lot going on as far as the news calendar is concerned for a Friday. All right. Jeez, it's gold. Taking some notes from the rest of the markets. Anyway, it's starting off on the Nasdaq, taking a look at what's going on over here. We're starting the day off relatively sideways, considering where we've gone. And overall, the trend is obviously nowhere near as powerful as it has been. And the concern with that is that we're at the top of that potential channel. Should be right across there. And, before we were talking about how, we've kind of broken above and see if they can get back underneath, but they couldn't. And then rolled all the way back to the upside. So this looks like bulls are trying to get this continuation phasing to go. And, well, it's not the prettiest looking spike and channel in the world, and it might even be more like a spike and megaphone, but it's there, and the fact that it's fitting so perfectly inside of there tells us that it's still a buy the dip market. But if it does dip, that dip could go as low as the bottom of that channel of the spike and channel portion. That's around 15,269.75. So there's some definite room as far as momentum to the downside is concerned. But where we are now, man alive, this thing just feels like it's at the top, and it just keeps feeling like it's at the top. Unbelievable. Over on the S&P, same thing, actually just coming off of the highs. If we're looking at this pullback here again, incredibly strong spike and channel move the whole way up. And really, we haven't come back to the bottom of that channel for quite a while. If we go across the highs, get us our channel point here and plop this down in the lows, we can see that we haven't really even tested it. So this could be the first time where we get a dip back to settlement right at the bottom of the spike and channel as a support bounce to continue. I mean, it's insane to even think about, like, oh yeah, this market will keep going up, but I mean, it hasn't stopped. So if it does want to pull back, the spike and channel portion where it's likely to pull back to is 44.40. So that is pretty far down there. We'll have to wait and see what they want to do, but Gold continuing back to the upside and rallying higher. We are seeing more continuation now from the bulls, keeping this thing aloft. It really, I mean, what a gross looking channel inside of here. You can't even really see it on the 15-minute chart anymore. It's so gross looking. If we go to the 60, there we go. I guess. That gives us something at least a little better to work with. Same thing. I mean, we've got an upward channel working its way higher. The market is rotating up towards the top, likely going to continue going up until we reach out to the top. That would be at around the positive 2 DP or a little bit further. Unfortunately, that's right where gold is. That's a bit of a bummer. Causes some issues. We'll have to wait and see what they want to do, but all things considered, you know, way up here is not exactly where I'd want to be along. Little far up there, you know. Hey, Brad, how's it going? Steven, Terry, everybody else, good morning, good morning. Looking over on crude oil, we've got crude, which is starting to look like it's taking some notes from gold here. Man, this thing is sharp. Wow. Real vicious spikes to the downside here. We've got a lot of supportive nature coming in at around the negative half DP. Just from a structural perspective, there's a lot there. So if crude oil does want to rotate back down to the 81.50s to 81s, that is a really nice spot of interest. That said, if that were to roll over right this second, that could also be seen as a little bit of a kind of a head and shoulders type failure, which could cause some excessive bearishness that may punch through that. So if longs are going to be looking at this area, we've got to be a little bit more cognizant of probabilities here. The probabilities are going to be slightly detrimented because of that. So it's more like a 3-to-1 scenario to the upside down here if it sets up. I don't know if that actually fits. Let's see here. Nope. Ugh. How about a little lower? A little lower? I want my target inside the highs, and I would really want it back to settlement if I can get... There we go. 44 ticks of risk for 132 ticks of upside. That's not too bad. That's the only way that this is reasonable to expect, you know. So 81.15, 44 tick stop, 132 tick target, pure swing going into the weekend type thing. Over on the euro, oh man, the euro is not looking happy. I'm not really liking the way that the euro's looking at the moment. These 3 lower highs, I hate that as far as if I wanted to be a bull. Hey, how's it going, laddie? But, I mean, we haven't broken down either. So, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, the bears obviously own the long-term trend. They have for quite a while, since, what was it, 2008? But... I mean, in the short term, at least, the bulls are definitely giving this a shot. And with the overall movement back and forth, lower high, higher low, we've now got a wedge. We're not really proving anything. If we look at the initial rally higher, we can see that the balance point was really far up there. And when they hit the balance point, they couldn't quite break above the highs, although I'm sure scalpers were more than treated to a nice little pop up there. But the real continuation couldn't succeed. They failed. They couldn't break above the highs. And now they're rolling underneath. And another lower high? I mean, this definitely has some problems. So my concern is that this ends up being a lower high, lower high, lower high, and the bottom falls out and we end up getting ripped apart to the downside. And the POC is at the top. And if we go all the way across, all the way to the bottom, to kind of gauge where the move is at, we are also under that POC, and that is the most recent fight that just lost. So I tell you what, the bulls are having some trouble, and if they start breaking down underneath these lows, it could be game over for quite a while. This is their last defense until, like, what, 15,850 maybe? I mean, that's a wide open door. There's a lot of space on there. So this is starting to look kind of gross. Not very often I'm looking for breakouts per se, but if we can get a breakdown and a return back up, might be a nice little value play on a correction. As far as the crypto side of things is concerned, we've got Bitcoin, which had a really nice rally higher, but couldn't follow through on the secondary pulse, and now we are building what appears to be a very interesting coiled up spring. Holy moly, this thing is pent up energy extreme. We have a potential ascending wedge formation and a breakdown would be a really nice trap to get things going to the upside if the bulls are looking for a reason. The reasoning for that would be it's very low risk compared to the reward, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of momentum potential here on Bitcoin for the continuation up, and we're breaking above settlement. We've got everything going. Obviously, I'm not going to draw the volume on here because that's going to crash my chart, but we'll look at that in a second. Same goes for Ethereum. We have a very, very powerhouse move to the out. Geez, unbelievable rally to the upside. And bulls are trying to get continuation. The concern is that they fail their follow through and they can't quite reach up. And I really don't like that brick-topped bar at 43.50. That's a bit of a concern. Not to say that the bulls can't get this going to the upside, but realistically, it makes more sense to possibly be a buyer on a little bit more of a dip, maybe even coming back in to refill some of this previous gapping down in like the negative 1.5 DP at 3,800. That would be a bit more favorable. I do think scalpers and short-term traders are 100% buying up here. But that said, in the longer term, a bigger pullback would be nice. We know how that works, though. Just because it would be nice doesn't mean it's going to happen. All right. Over on the faster time frames here, let's clear some things off. There we go. And looking on the Nasdaq, starting off the day, at least initially, I mean, wow. Now, I just want you to take note as to where that pulled back to. You remember we've been talking about something for quite a while, talking about those break-evens and how the internal structure has demonstrated that the aggressive traders have gotten out, etc. But that flushback and the response off that, I think, is a pretty big clue as to what took place down there. I would be willing to guess that there was a lot of traders that got stuck from there. And if we take this whole move from the top of yesterday, or I'm sorry, before yesterday to yesterday, and we continue that all the way further forward. Yeah, I was going to say my data's bugged. It's not going to let me. I'm going to have to draw it just from there to the highs. Yeah, and it's not going to show me. So my volume is bugged, which is incredibly frustrating because I'm trying to show you what this pullback was, but it won't let me. Anytime I go back to the next day, it doesn't work anymore. But you can see that the volume node is here, and if you include the increase in volume, when you drag this further forward and we go into the next day where it starts magically working again, you'll notice that there was a really strong POC inside of there, and then the continuation of that POC there. This pullback was nothing more than just a run back down to the break-even initiation, but unfortunately NinjaTrader has other ideas of not letting me be able to show that. So thanks, Ninja, you pile of garbage. Jeez. Let's go into the, obviously I am not sponsored by NinjaTrader. We've got Nasdaq and the S&P. Everything is getting pulled hard off the top here. All right, I had one of my transfers on crypto go through for the small account challenge. The other one is still stuck. Thankfully, that was the smaller one. So in Femex, I've got what ended up getting in there so far, about almost $300, $291. That might be good enough just to start the SAC. I don't want to start it on a Friday. That's awkward, but. Just know, I'm trying to transfer it in there, but I have a transaction that's been hung up since it's 1,000 minutes ago. Okay. It's been hung up there for a little while. But I'm going to be looking at the small account challenge side of things, probably like on a 5 or 15 minute chart, trying to scalp/swing on the crypto sphere. Looking at the most voluminous, which right now, if we're looking at the most voluminous on Femex, that would be Bitcoin, Link, and Ethereum, followed by Tezos, Ripple, and ADA. But Bitcoin, Link, and Ethereum are always on the top, so those are the three that I'm got my eyes on, with Ethereum being the focus. Speaking of this dip back on Ethereum, if we can get a dip back on Ethereum towards, and if they can get a dip back towards like the 4090s, that would be really, really interesting. Well, it's the 4090s on Femex, at least. It's right around there. I'm trying to eyeball it. Hey, Malik, how's it going? And Maurice, welcome, welcome. Nice little dip area on Ethereum. Again, the aggressive bulls are going to be looking to come up in this area in the 106s. The deeper bulls are looking in the 90s, but there's certainly a reason to believe that the bulls have a shot of taking it from this dip in the low 4110s. So it's a little more aggressive, but this is more based on like a swing low trap type scenario. See if they can keep it going. Link also catching a nice pulse back to the upside, almost at that $30 major target area. We've been talking about the 30s to 31s. Close enough. You know, we're right there. Some other ones that stand out, I really like the look of Litecoin still. I think Litecoin looks really, really nice. But, right, as far as Litecoin is concerned, we still are dealing with that $200 mark, and the $200 mark is probably going to be a pain for a while. Not to say that it can't break above that, obviously, but you know, that's the issue with Litecoin. I like lumens because whenever there's a lot of movement on the market, people tend to use lumens to transact and move cash. Because lumens transfers really well, they don't get stuck in the blockchain, and it's only like 6 cents to send. So more often than not, generally speaking, people are using lumens when they're looking to move capital. And so I like lumens whenever it's on a dip to pick up. Anytime lumens is around like the 30-cent mark or lower, I'm a happy camper. Right now it's a little bit further up than that at around 38 cents, although I still think it's a nice little dip buy. The other one of interest is Dash. And Dash is one that's maintaining a lot of upward ground because it's broken above the 200s and it's trying to maintain that strength. So that is another one of definitive interest. Target hit on Ethereum. Nice little pop. Got the stock exchange open right around the corner here. Not too far away. Link continuing to pulse to the upside, and the index markets, man alive, they got slammed off the top. Holy crap. Give me a couple seconds here before we head into the open. I got to take care of a few things and we'll be able to rock and roll. Be right back. All right, sorry about that. We're back. All right, going into the open here, we've got 2 minutes. My cat is being an absolute monster today. Unbelievable. He's getting into the donuts. He's knocking stuff up. And some days, you know. It's Friday, not Monday. Give me a break. All right. Anyway, 929 right around the corner. The Ethereum market already had its bounce for scalpers. Quick little pop there. Nice little move. As far as the rest of the market, this is, sheesh. It's pulling back pretty hard. The question is this pullback nothing more than a break even, you know? I mean, the break-even point, if that is the case, would be 1750, which is exactly what they're bouncing off of, on the Nasdaq at least. 1 minute until the open. If we go out on the S&P, they've already kind of gone through that one. They even came back and retagged it again. So the bulls kind of lost their grip a little bit here, but stock exchange open, 20 seconds. Right around the corner. Walker. Yeah. Hey, there's something to that some days. Walk away for the first 10, 15. Some days it'd be a lot better off. Sheesh. S&P getting slapped a little bit here, down towards settlement. Nasdaq following along. Ethereum retesting the scalpers area for another bounce, it looks like. Alright, the open not really doing much yet. Why does my ES chart look so weird? Is it just because of that weird giant drop from the top to bottom? It's linear. It just looks so funky. Whatever. Nasdaq building a bit of a base of support around the 411.75s. S&P has gone bull engulfing. A flush back down into the 15s, 14s might be a nice little area for the bulls to climb back in again. On the Nasdaq. The S&P trying to pulse higher. There's a lot of volume that just built in there at the 20s. Sheesh. Ethereum tested the scalper's target again and immediately backed off. Only got one on the Nasdaq. Oh, and got a terrible fill on my scalp exit. Oh, God, that was awful. Oof. Oof, Nasdaq. Oof, stop it. Jeez, I got a terrible exit on that one. Got it at 17 quarter, exited at 19 quarter. All right. Jeez. Well, 8 ticks is 8 ticks, I guess. But, man, they jump. As soon as I hit sell ass to get out, they jump back like 5 ticks off the top. Ooh, that was a bad fill. Well, we got the dip back into the zone of interest. I was a little late to get in and got a bad fill getting out. that's fun. Hey, Sean, how's it going? Been gone for a while, just came back to trading. The volume profile one that I use is part of NinjaTrader 8. That's the default order flow volume profile indicator suite. Unfortunately, that is the one that's paywalled, so you do have to have a full license of Ninja to have access to it. I think you do already, but just throwing it out there for those that don't. If you go into the drawing tool, the drop down here, that's the order flow volume profile. I have it set to a short key, just because I short key everything. It's the order flow volume profile. And if you have the, they also have like an indicator package as well, and that's down in the order flow. So if you go down to O, that'll be all of these right here. So order flow, these. That's all part of the same package. Yeah, no problem. All right, well, Nasdaq rubbing a little bit of salt in the wound there. I got a really bad... Man, I got jerked around on that one pretty hard. I didn't get the second contract that I wanted. Got a terrible fill on the exit on the first. Oof. Oh, right in the heart. All right. We've got the first 5-minute volume node at 15,420 on the Nasdaq and 45.40 quarter on the S&P. A lot of aggression from the bulls stepping up to the plate. Most of that volume is left back behind inside the first 5-minute bar. Quite a ways back, in fact. Where's my... Oh, that's right. I've got the link chart in the bottom. I forgot. Crude's still hanging out down to 81.15. I mean, it's going to be a while till that happens, so... All right, well, kind of a slow start. Well, I say slow start. It's been a frustrating start more than anything else to the morning, at least for me. Hopefully you guys are having a little bit of an easier morning. Sheesh. I'm getting jerked around. More continuation flushing to the upside. This is obviously distribution volume, meaning that the bulls are still taking profit on the way up, and they're not stopping yet. Bulls own it. You got pipped in on the ES and seeing it fly the sky without you. Ouch, man, that sucks. Yeah, it's... It's been a frustrating morning, man. I'm telling you. Sheesh. That's all good. Let the market get its herky-jerkus out of the way, and then we'll we'll get it going after that. Nice little pullback here on the S&P on this dip. A lot of volume back in the 44s. Back in the 43s, 44s, in that zone. The POC is still staying down at 40 quarter, though. The Nasdaq just went screaming all the way back up again. Nice little dip back on the S&P. Seeing if I can pick it up on the bid. Not getting filled. Not getting filled. Man, it hit my entry like 4 or 5 times. I'm not getting a fill. Bruh. Man, I got swerved. No fill. It hasn't gone above 45 yet. Alright, never mind. Dang it. Hang on, I'm gonna go punch something real quick. Jeez. Let me get my angry music going. Hang on. Where's Nasdaq continuing to go up into the sky. I'm getting swerved on every corner that I come up to. Can't catch a break. Now my Spotify crashed? Like, really? I can't even listen to my music. Come on. There we go. All right, POC on the Nasdaq shifting to the upside, 15,453, now demonstrating, again, still distribution volume, but the POC shifting tells us something. The S&P also shifted to the upside. Slight concern, given that it's ahead of the highs. See if the bulls want to pick it up on a little bit of a dip. On the Nasdaq, there was a big chunk of volume that came in at the 47.50s, but then they let off into the 41s. So it's either the 47s or the 41s that I'm looking for right now. And the 47s are real far up, close to that POC. I don't know, they're on top of it right now. I'd rather see the 41s. I think it just fits a little bit nicer. Even into the lower 40s. The bulls are defending it off the 47s at least a little bit, though. Ethereum looking like it's having a bit of trouble for the longs who are still trying to maintain the long above that 4108. Failing to close above causes some issues. When you say an entry at the bid, is that the start of the current candle? That's just when I hit the button. So that's when I hit buy bid, it places the limit order on the bid, and when I hit that button, that's when I said that. The reason why I liked it in that zone more than anything else is we were pulling back to fill in that volume node on a dip. I don't want to buy way up here. Right? The market's still breaking away to the upside, though, so I want to buy in a dip. And when it came back to the dip to try to get filled, that was where that volume node was. Well, it's not anymore, but where it was, at least, for the reload to the upside. I just couldn't get a fill. I was trying to offset my entry off the top. It's just I tried to offset too much. couldn't quite get the fill there. But whenever I'm entering or exiting, I'm pretty much always entering on the bid, exiting at the ask, or entering on the ask, exiting at the bid, vice versa. I pretty much never exit at the market or enter with the market. I'm not a huge fan of slippage. And I tell you what, the Nasdaq's a big fan of handing that stuff out, and it's Halloween. They hand that stuff out like candy. Yeah, no problem. Let's see, you've got Link, Ethereum, and Tezos. Does Coinbase have Tezos data? XTZ? Oh, they do. It looks exactly the same, just with a different price axis. Nice. Alright, so this one's going to be Ethereum. So I'm moving these around a little bit just to make them a little bit more understandable for me. Put Ethereum up here. Link down there is fine, and Tezos over here. And the reason I'm picking these three is because these are the most voluminously traded on Femex, so those would be the ones that I would focus on. I'm not going to trade Bitcoin because you have to hold the Bitcoin in there, and there's too much volatility in it right now being at the top for me to want to do that. So that's a hard pass, no thanks. I'd rather just leave those sit in a different account and trade with like USD as a base. Makes keeping track of small account challenge stuff a lot easier. So on the top middle, we've got Ethereum. On the bottom middle, we've got Link. On the top right, we've got Tezos. Those are the top three today. Alright, here the market sits, just kind of hovering around, not really doing much of anything. I had the one, man, massively vindictive scalp on the Nasdaq, only got a partial fill, didn't get the fill on the other scalp on the S&P. See if we can get a little bit of something going on. I mean, right now, we're building a top-weighted POC at the highs, and the markets are not able to break out through the top, and we have a down gap from close to open on both the Nasdaq and the S&P. These charts feel like I'm trading the wrong month. Like, I keep looking at all of these gaps on the way down. It's like, am I on like the March contract? Like, what's happening? It just looks wrong. I don't know, man. The S&P looks really weird today. Maybe that's what this up move is, just to kind of fill in this funkiness. But I don't know. It looks like a tick chart. Yeah, like an illiquid tick chart. It does. Or like the Russell at 8 in the morning, you know? It's not quite all there yet. Man, the S&P is building up some massive consolidation up here. A continuation break above the highs or a really strong pullback. We've got a huge amount of pent-up energy, and the POC's been up here from the very beginning. It's not like it just made it up here. Inside, really nice-looking bear bar on the Nasdaq. Although, realistically, I'm not going to be interested on the Nasdaq until we can get a dip down into the lower 35s, 34s. Speak of the devil, though, huh? Nice little pulse down on the Nasdaq. This is where the longs are going to be looking for that reload. All right, and I'll implement the head short on the S&P as well. Well, I thought I was going to get a fill on the Nasdaq there, but I didn't. Okay. So again, just utilizing the long on the Nasdaq as an opportunity to offset a hedge to the downside on the S&P. I love this flush, and I think longs are going to be looking for an upside continuation. It's just a matter as to where. Unfortunately, the way that they've dipped has created a scenario where it's got to be treated more as a scalp now. Whoops. Unless I can do some work on my average. Tried grabbing an additional one there on the S&P, but I couldn't get it. Tried grabbing an additional one again and couldn't get it. As far as the average, still haven't done enough work to get much more than just a scalper's objective so far on the Nasdaq. I think I can do a little bit better on my average for the Nasdaq, and I've still got the hedge, which is compensating for it. But if I can get a couple exits, I'm going to have to exit at a loss initially on the Nasdaq for the first few of them. But the hedge on the S&P is attempting to at least compensate for that a little bit. All right, I'll chop a couple of them. It's not going to do much for my average on the Nasdaq, but it'll give me at least a little bit more flexibility. There we go. There we go. A little better, maybe. Ethereum getting slapped right now. Now, I think I can fit... Yeah, I can get a 2-to-1 in there now. Can't quite fit a 3-to-1 yet, but... that might help. Yeah, there we go. Nasdaq's got to widen out just a little bit. Still fits, technically. Although it's above the POC now. Ugh. Alright. Back to 2-to-1, I guess. I'll still float this last one up here, though. I like that POC as an objective. And here it sits. Toss a coin to the Witcher. I just saw that. That's funny. So if the market does decide to go back up, then I'll just exit the entirety of the position altogether at around the 2-to-1, trying to stretch it to the 3-to-1. But I've got the head short on the S&P that I've got to compensate for. So 2-to-1s or 3-to-1s are the objective at the moment. If it does go back down, then I'll scalp out a little bit more of the S&P and continue adding like normal until we can get a better position. But we've done enough work on the average now, at least, to where a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 fits. Had to eat a couple losses along the way. That's never fun, but... Looking at the bigger perspective, you can see where we are and why I'm still maintaining my bullish emphasis. We've got a lot of interest on this dip. This is where support finally comes in. This is also where a lot of traders get stopped out, not realizing the larger support. So, still got to play it safe though, which is why the S&P short exists. Nice flush on Ethereum. Nice flush on Link too. Honestly, Link looks probably the best out of all of them. Good continuation to the upside so far, but they've got a lot of work to do. Well, that helps. All right, there we go. Got that pesky little POC right there, though. That could cause some trouble. Beautiful continuation so far. Testing the 5-minute POC at 420, running into a little bit of difficulty, but all right, there we go. We'll accept some of the profit up in the POC area, and I'll let the last one go. I'm going to also, I got top filled on the exit for the, got top filled on the exit for the S&P. You're welcome, whoever that short was. Jeez. But again, I don't just want to maintain the one long. If we can get a little bit of an inside pullback, then I'm still looking for a continuation phase off of this. More continuation to the upside. Extended targets now are up in the 45s, 46s if it can make it there. Yay, it doesn't look like I got top filled on the S&P anymore. Thanks, S&P. Just close now. A little less salt in the wound. Nice flush on the crypto side of things. Still trying to reach. About halfway. If they're going to pull back, I'd like to see them pull back to, like, 15s, 10s. Crypto markets continuing to flush pretty aggressively. Larger areas of interest on Ethereum are going to be, down in these 4,040s like we've been talking about. This is where that longer term swing interest starts stepping up. Down in those lows. We do have 10 o'clock right around the corner. So feel free to get those last questions in, and then we'll roll into the, there it is, into the extended session and keep things going. Let's see, this is the 2-to-1, the 3-to-1. That's going to be a little bit harder to hit, but we'll see if they can make it up there. Getting close to those 15s. Oh, I hotkeyed the S&P. All right. Well, I mean, I don't mind the S&P either. I guess it's a similar situation. Just looking to scalp out of the S&P. I didn't mean to buy that one in the first place, so I'll just take the scalp and call it good. I wanted to buy the Nasdaq and add to my long position on that dip, but I guess similar situation, same job done. I gotta say, I would have preferred to have the Nasdaq. Big blow off now. Ethereum flushing a lot harder. Starting to get closer to those 40/40s. Overflow or order flow in the middle. Yeah, the POC is smack in the middle too. All right, well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in, so that's going to do it for the morning and for the week as a whole. Obviously, I'm still in the middle of a trade, so the numbers are going to be a little bit messed up. But as it stands, let's see, beginning of the week on the 18th to today. All right. And this is what we're looking at for the week. 59 total trades, 67.8% accuracy, number of winning trades 40, number of losing trades 16. Average winning trade, definitely a scalper's week. And like I said, I'm still in the middle of a trade, so these numbers are going to change drastically. But it's been a scalper's week for sure. We can still run the numbers, even though they're going to change. We'll still see. 67.8 minus 100 is 32.2 on the loss side, times the average lose of 59. And 67.8 times the average win of 26 minus 1899.8. Yeah. So basically everything is on this trade right now. This whole week. Easy weeks happen, so do difficult weeks. Today, or this week, actually, my math is negative until this trade is done. Then that will change drastically. But again, just so you can see, so far, technically, from a numbers perspective, at least, from a math perspective, the numbers are negative. And that makes sense that the numbers are messed up because this trade is still active, so it hasn't had time to complete all of the numbers. But, hey, it is what it is. Can you share the configuration for your volume profile on the ES chart? Yeah. Let me double-click on it. There's so many settings. Hang on. I don't know if I can make it long enough to get all of them. Ooh, I can get close. You don't need the top, right? That's as good as I can fit it. Over the long term, we're good, and that's the important part. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's the thing. Some weeks are easy, some weeks are a lot more difficult. And there will be weeks like this where everything at the end of the week on a Friday hinges on one trade. This is where psychological pressure can really start becoming heavy. You got to be used to it. If you're not, you're honestly better off just hitting the exits, calling it a week as long as it's in profitable territory, and just saying, you know what, I'm going to come back next week. For me, I'm used to the pressure at this point, and I know from a self-eval standpoint that I'm not affected at the moment, so I'll continue trading it. But under pressure. Anyway, on that note, now that everyone left, that is going to do it for the morning side of things for VIPs and members. We're going to continue into the extended session and continue babysitting this trade. I would like to see if we can get another dip into, there we go, into the 15, so I can get another one down in this low. I missed my last entry and I did it on the S&P instead. So let's see if we can get that going. But let's jump over to the extended session. We'll get it rocking and rolling from there, and then we'll roll into the weekend. For those of you who are ducking out for the weekend, I hope you had a great trading week. Obviously, today was incredibly vindictive in the way that it set up for me, getting no-filled, slip-filled, miss-filled, lack of content, like all over the place, man. Today was a patience tester, and it still is. We know that the entire week, as far as traders math, hinges on today. We'll re-eval when we go into the members session to see how it ends up, too, assuming that the trade is off at that point. I would hope so, but we'll see. Anyway, that's going to do it for the morning side of things. Enjoy, rest up over the weekend so you can come back ready to rock and roll on Monday. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below, or you can shoot me an email, jhb@ssftg.com. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all back next week Monday, all right? Have a good one. We'll talk to y'all later. Thanks.